Ubiquiti is known for being one of the best network solutions for regular users, home labbers, and even small businesses. But now with the introduction of some new products to their enterprise line, they're making moves to be the go-to network solution for larger businesses and campuses. Today, I'm going to take a look at how you'd run a highly available network complete with shadow mode gateways, MC-lag switches, high power access points, and a whole lot of high-speed networking. First, let's talk about our gateways. This is the Enterprise Fortress Gateway, Ubiquiti's highest end gateway that has 25 gig networking, hot swappable redundant power supplies, support for over 5,000 clients and 500 devices, and 12.5 gig IPS routing. This thing is a monster. And like I said, 25 gig networking with not one but two 25 gig SFP28 ports, and we also get dual 10 gig and dual 2.5 gig ports as well. I'm going to put some of the specs here on the screen so you can see just how powerful this device is. We're talking about over 1 gig speed site-to-site VPN using SiteMagic, 10,000 SSL TLS concurrent sessions, AI SSL packet inspection, highly available shadow mode, and all within a device that has a max power consumption of just 82 watts. We'll be taking a look at some of these features, especially shadow mode, a bit later. But next, let's talk about the Enterprise Campus Aggregation Switch. This switch is clearly the most powerful switch in the entire lineup with 48 25 gig SFP28 and 6 100 gig QSFP28 ports. Again, we see redundant hot swappable 550 watt power supplies to ensure a true highly available configuration. As for specs, we get 3.6 terabits per second of switching capacity with 1.8 terabits per second of non-blocking throughput. That's bonkers. Of course, this is an L3 switch, so it can act as your DHCP server and do inter-VLAN routing if you want. I'll throw some more specs here on the screen, but the big feature of this switch is MC-lag or multi-chassis link aggregation. This means that we can take two of these switches and make a connection from each switch to a single client and have that client operate with a highly available network configuration in the event that one of the switches goes down. You're starting to see why these are made for large deployments now, right? But guess what? We're not even done with switches. The last one I want to show you is the Enterprise Campus 24 PoE. There you go. Now we're cooking. So while aggregation switch is designed to connect super high-speed clients and other switches together, this is designed to connect directly to your UniFi devices and other clients. Here we get 16 10 gig PoE+++ ports. That's right, 3 pluses meaning 100 watts per port, and 8 2.5 gig PoE+++++, 3 pluses ports. That's 1,000 watts of total power here. Outside of the RJ45 ports, we also get dual 25 gig SFP28 ports. And you're probably tired of hearing this, but you do get the dual hot swappable power supplies, but this time it's a bit more interesting. These are 600 watt PSUs, but you have the choice to operate them in shared mode to combine their total output power to 1200 watts, or in redundant mode that gives you 600 watts, but will keep the device running if one fails. We also get 4 hot swappable fan modules to keep all that power nice and cool. This is actually the little brother to the Campus 48 PoE, which ups it to 32 10 gig and 16 2.5 gig ports, along with 4 25 gig ports and dual 1200 watt power supplies. So common theme of all these devices, big numbers everywhere. And that doesn't necessarily stop now that we're moving on to the E7 access point, a beast of a Wi-Fi 7 AP with a 4x4 MIMO config on the 6 and 5 GHz bands, 10 total streams of Wi-Fi 7 performance, 10 gig PoE++ backhaul, and full MLO support. We also get a backup 1 gig uplink for highly available mode, which is pretty neat. And the reason you don't see it here is because my B-roll got corrupted and it's already installed on my ceiling and I don't want to get it down. So here you go. Now, all of these products have a few things in common, being that they're designed for large deployments, so high bandwidth, highly available, and enhanced features. So with that said, let's take a look at how these devices go together along with some of the software setup. Now, in a standard highly available setup using the Enterprise line, you'd have 2 Fortress gateways to utilize their shadow mode feature, which provides automatic failover. To do this, you'd follow the shadow mode guide, which boils down to connecting the shadow mode gateway to the primary, selecting shadow mode in UniFi network, and letting it sync. After that, you'll just connect your WAN to both your primary and shadow mode gateways, as well as your downstream devices. Then in the event that your primary gateway goes down, your shadow mode gateway will automatically fail over. From there, you can just promote your shadow mode gateway to the primary and work on replacing the failed gateway, all with no downtime. This is a highly coveted and oftentimes highly necessary feature for large-scale deployments, so I know this will be appreciated. Another trick of the EFG is the NextAI SSL packet inspection, which allows the EFG to analyze HTTPS traffic on client devices. Obviously, this is something you wouldn't use in a home environment, but for security purposes, this is a useful feature for large businesses and deployments. Once you set this up, you can download the certificate to push to all your client devices in the network, and you're done. Outside of these features, we discussed that the bandwidth you can send through these is absolutely insane, even through the SiteMagic VPN, which makes multi-site deployment with these even sweeter. The next step in the highly available chain is to use our campus aggregation switches. These could be used at different layers of the network, like at the core to branch off to multiple sites, and then at the distribution layer to connect directly to clients, or at just lower level for all your other switches. Either way, a big feature of these is MC-lag, or multi-chassis link aggregation. This is similar to shadow mode in that it provides a highly available connection, but it can also be used to utilize higher bandwidth in some cases. For example, if we want to configure MC-lag on 2 campus aggregation switches and a client, we'd connect both switches together and both of those to the client in sort of a love triangle setup. And this is pretty easy to configure in Unify Networks since there is a dedicated MC-lag UI where not only can you set up the switch-to-switch configuration, but also the lag group to the client as well. Note that you will have to set this up on the client side, but for machines that are required to be up 24/7, 365, this is pretty common. Last, we have the E7 access point, and in terms of being highly available, we do get those 2 LAN ports like I mentioned with the 10 gig and the 1 gig for backup. The specs on this thing were obviously impressive, but the most important feature is that we can change the LED color, right? Jokes aside, the config for this device isn't much different from your regular Wi-Fi 7 access point aside from the highly available status if you're utilizing that. And there you have it, Ubiquiti's new lineup of enterprise gear that takes a big step into being the go-to for large network deployments in the enterprise world. And of course, this lineup will only be expanding with more products being launched, so expect some more cool things to come. What do you guys think? Fancy seeing a full rack of Unify gear at your company or college? Let me know down in the comments. I want to give a huge shout out to my YouTube members and my Patreons. You guys are my highly available, high bandwidth, high vertical jump group of absolute bros. Y'all are the best. And if you're still watching, you're an IoT VLAN. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.